Hey everybody, and welcome to Good Day Westeros. I'm your host, Max Knobloch.
And I'm Bob Algreen. Promakosla is on vacation.
Good Day Westeros, of course, if you're a recurring viewer, you already know. But if you're just tuning in for the first time, you know, Game of Thrones is constantly in the news. I feel like in a lot of ways.
It's a year-round thing. It never ends, but
it is the news. And so we made a new show about Game of Thrones.
And we're going to be discussing and talking about the new season, the Season 7 premiere, which just aired last night. Dragonstone.
Bob,
boy,
before we
big
get started,
episode.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was kind of an interminable hellscape up until about last night at 9 p.m. You know, just a miserable experience until Game of Thrones came back, baby. How about you? How was your weekend?
Well, let me tell you, because it's exciting. On Friday night, I stayed in. On Saturday, during the day, I stayed in. And Sunday, right up until 9 p.m., I stayed in.
Okay.
And I just sat through that whole time. I sat on my bed at a 90-degree angle, and I sat straight up, and I just kind of stared at the wall.
Classic.
And on the wall, of course, I have a Game of Thrones poster. And I just kind of stared at it without emoting, you know. And then at about 8:45 p.m. last night, I stood up, I walked out to the couch, and I watched the show.
It sounds like a good time.
Weekend.
Yeah. No, that's a good
weekend.
One. That's a good one.
Let's get into it.
No, sure, why not?
What do you think?
I thought this was a fine episode. This is a good episode. It's a season premiere. You know, they're setting up a lot of pieces. It's kind of the chess set is coming together. Don't expect too much in terms of plot, but I enjoyed it.
But you got it though, didn't you?
I guess you got some plot advancement in there, really. Yeah, but it was really more about, hey, here's the board. We're setting the board. I feel like multiple times in the episode.
The pieces are set. The pieces are moving.
Literally, characters are
set, the pieces are moving.
Looking at a board being set. The pieces moving.
Very cool. I think the same. I would give this episode a 7 out of 10. Swords and 8 out of 10 wolves, and neither of those mean anything to me. So let's launch into our favorite topic. What was your favorite part? The best scene?
Well, that's easy for me to say because it was right there at the start of the episode, man.
The Arya scene.
The best scene is clearly, boy,
I agree.
It's the payoff that we've kind of been waiting for a long time. The Arya scene. We've got it right here on our script.
Okay, so right now is, of course, Walder Frey, but wait a minute, he's been dead for a long time.
And at first I thought, hey, is this a flashback? How are we seeing this guy alive?
And here they're dying.
And the good guy, and they start keeling over, they start bleeding internally. I was sitting home alone, as I am most days, and I just was clapping my arms in front of me like the monkey with the cymbals throughout this entire scene in a regular rhythm, because, hey, what can you say? Arya slays.
Now, after that scene, of course, we follow Arya. Where does she go after that? She walks through the woods.
Yeah, she's just kind of wandering
she's kind of
around.
meandering. Then she runs into, who is it? Ed Sheeran.
Wow.
And he played just kind of an idiot soldier who's in the middle of the woods during war, just kind of screaming out a limerick.
He's yodeling, as one will.
And I loved it. You know, I loved this scene.
I actually didn't. I wasn't crazy about the cameo. I thought it took me out of the story. I'm sitting there watching this Game of Thrones. It's a mystical fantasy realm. And suddenly I'm thinking, what is this, The Simpsons?
Who else had a particularly memorable episode? I feel like Jamie and Cersei had a pretty big episode together.
There's some tension at King's Landing, some tension in the Red Keep between these two siblings. They're the last of the Lannisters. Their son Tommen ended last season by killing himself.
Right. And they had to talk about, and there was a very operatic moment where he just kind of said, "We haven't talked about Tommen," and I thought, haven't you? You haven't mentioned it even once. It wasn't a funeral for the king. Nobody even mentioned a word about it. But I really like the map that they're painting. I think I think we can look forward to more scenes involving that map. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And overall, I think that she's going to try to marry this Greyjoy guy. And the Greyjoys are suddenly very powerful. And it makes me think, why didn't they help Theon at all? Why did it seem that there were only 6 Greyjoys who could possibly help Theon? But now it seems that, every brother and every member of the royal family of the Greyjoys has an armada of 70,000 ships each.
They went from 0 to 5,000 with that armada in like an episode last season. Now it is very impressive.
Now those are the book numbers, of course, and I can even show you. I mean, those are the book numbers.
Max has the books.
Now in the books, that's true. The Greyjoys had. Now there's a moment that I wanted to point out. But, well, I can't find it. I couldn't possibly.
And you can pick
those
up right now.
You can pick those up.
Those
Any
are in
bookstore.
stores. Online.
And obviously, in the books, the Greyjoys do have a large fleet, but in the show, they've kind of been a pathetic house.
They're
for
like
a
the
while.
loser house.
Yeah, they're like the loser house that's dirty. They're always sweaty, but it's a wet sweat.
Yes, and Euron promises Cersei some sort of gift, right? Because he asked her hand in marriage.
Yeah.
She said, nah.
What do you think he's going to do?
I don't think so.
I think he's bringing her Tyrion's head on a platter.
What? You think so? Because they do talk about family betrayals, and he talks about how he's been betrayed by his niece and nephew.
And where do you think Tyrion is right now? We know where he is.
Well,
they land in Dragonstone, the name of the episode.
Title of the episode. A lot of people talk about.
Samuel Tarly, right now, speaking of Dragonstone, he figures out that Dragonstone has a lot of the stuff that
there's
kills
some sort of mine of dragon glass, which has been established as the only natural occurring element that will stop White Walkers. It can repel White Walkers, right? It can kill them.
Okay. So he's learning about that. Meanwhile, he's also cleaning out
a lot of bedpans.
Toilets. He's
a lot of gross
sloshing poop around.
Yeah, there's just a lot of full-on poop shots.
Probably the most poop we've seen in Game of Thrones. And I look forward to probably in the upcoming season more Ed Sheeran and more just on-camera shots of people taking dumps.
Little turds, yeah.
And I think that's cool.
Other plot lines.
I don't think she said a word.
She says one line, which is,
I'm
let's
ready.
begin, or, okay, yep. I'm ready,
like
let's begin.
And then, of course, we also have the Hound, who was just kind of walking around being sad.
Where is that plot going?
I don't know.
He's out there with the Brotherhood Without Banners, Derek Dondarrion, and Beric Dondarrion, and Thoros of Myr. Two names I learned last night on Wikipedia.
Thanos of Marvel.
I was going to say, I thought Thoros.
Let's shoot ahead of the power rankings.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, so as we can see right here on screen, we're going to go ahead and run down the quick power rankings of the week. Coming in at number 5, coming in hot, is Jon Snow.
King of the North.
Rather than coming in hot, I'm saying coming in pretty cold.
Pretty chilly.
Because it seems like there's some trouble with him and Sansa. You know, it seems like they've been kind of playing that for the last 58 episodes of the show, just kind of a subtle anger between the two of them. And Baelish is at, of course, the root of it. Littlefinger's got his little pinky in this relationship. Coming in at number 4, Cersei Lannister.
Finally on the throne, but is it everything she wanted?
Is everything okay? Because as Jamie said, you're the queen of 3 kingdoms at most.
At best. Supposedly supposed to be the queen of 7 kingdoms, but not very
Hello. Coming in at number 3.
I would say the Night King, because he gets
agree.
one scene really in this episode. We see that they're on the march, and we see for the first time ever we see giant zombies out there, folks. There are giant White Walkers. We've seen giants before. We've seen them die. 1-1, of course. R.I.P. last season. We now know that at some point they're going to have to put down some giant zombies. That's pretty exciting.
Very exciting. Coming at number 2 is Daenerys. She is in a stronghold. She has the things to defeat the White Walkers with her. Yeah. She's got all her buds around
3 dragons.
her. And she made a new dress on the boat.
And number 1, coming in hot at number 1.
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
I'm going to throw it. Okay. And that is the power ranking. So I hope we're both happy with that. Bob,
perfect.
I think it would be helpful if we just knew where everyone was.
There's a lot of maps, a lot of different characters moving around the continent of Westeros in this episode. Why don't we go over to the map board and I'll show you, Max.
Okay. I'm gonna hang here.
Okay, you stay in this frame.
I'm gonna hang out here and I'm just gonna draw.
I'm just gonna go. I'll see you though. All right. So here we have our map of Westeros and Essos. You can see the Night King coming in from the north, kind of a cold front moving in, right, Max? And then you got the cast of characters up here at Winterfell. A lot of people gathering at Winterfell. Currently have also, of course, Jon Snow up there. We also have Bran at the wall. We didn't talk about that scene. Kind of skipped it. Whatever. Arya down here making her way towards King's Landing, where we see Cersei waiting. I guess her brother is actually over here. Dorne, those characters, that plot, that'll happen at some point, I assume. And we see Daenerys land at Dragonstone with Tyrion. Let's throw a dragon up there too. Yeah, that looks pretty good, wouldn't you say? And then, of course, we have Ed Sheeran somewhere in the middle, just right in the center of Westeros. He's been there all along and we didn't know about it. Interesting to see how these fronts will move as we continue the season, Max. All right. And that is where everybody is currently on the map.
Yep.
The map, we hope, will be a recurring segment in future episodes as well.
Bob, last part of the show.
Of course. Where are we going?
Where are we headed?
Where do we go
next
from
week?
here? Predictions, theories.
I got notes upon notes upon notes upon notes.
I think it's
upon
very
notes.
important that
And
you predict what's going to happen. That shows you have a greater appreciation for the show.
Exactly. I see next week Ed Sheeran joins Arya permanently. Possibly they start a relationship. Could be husband and wife. Could be just good friends who always have just a subtle kind of the beginning of When Harry Met Sally kind of friendship that borders on romance.
I have been, honestly, this is a prediction I made years ago. I said Ed Sheeran will show up in the show. His character will be named Ed Sheeran.
I remember you saying that.
He will sing, and he will become Arya's long-lost love. The two of them will kind of have a Romeo and Juliet thing that will then become really the main focus of the show. All the war and the throne stuff will kind of take a back seat to that romance.
I agree.
I hope so.
But
The
now-
show could use more romance.
Jon Snow and Sansa, I see them continuing to clash.
Yeah.
But also a little subtle. What am I picking up? They just respect each other a lot. They love each other as two family members. They love each other.
Two siblings with a totally platonic, familial.
Step.
Yeah, I guess genetically they're not. What do you? Are you getting at what I think you're getting at? Gendry watch. Do you think we're going to see Gendry next episode?
Yes.
Go. Yes. 100%. Max and I are both 100%. We will see Gendry return next episode. Look forward to that.
I think it might be just a Gendry-centric episode.
I hope so.
Well, hoping.
Do we know the title of the next episode?
Nope.
Could be Gendry. We don't know.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to Good Day Westeros. I've been Max Knobloch.
I've been Bob Algreen.
And Proma is, of course, on vacation.
She'll be back next week,
She'll be
though.
back next week.
And we'll see you then.
Good day.
Westeros.